Hey, welcome to Keight's Crafts. I'm Keight. A month or so ago, a crafty friend and I did a Lawn Fawn Stamp swap. We each stamped sets the other didn't have and sent them off as Happy Mail. Today I would like to share with you what I made with a few of those images I received. I will also be pairing them up with some new Lawn Fawn products from the summer 2022 release. Let's get started. Starting off, I am creating a frame using two of the Outside and Stitched rectangle dies by Lawn Fawn. My goal here today is to create an unexpected shaker card. This was not my intent this morning when I made the card, but creativity ran away with itself, and this is what we're doing today. So once I've applied all the adhesive and the acetate is stuck down, I will trim off the excess around the edges of the frame. For the background of the shaker card, I decided that I was going to use the new Sunray background stencil from Lawn Fawn, as well as All the Dots 6x6 Petite paper pack in the blue color, and I'm also using the stitched ripple backdrop, which I am quite pleased with. So I've used my Tumbled Glass to create the rays of light coming down, and now I'm going to go in with some Salty Ocean to kind of create the illusion of depth, like you're underwater. So I'm going to go around the edges and check with the frame to make sure that I'm in frame and that I'm happy with the blend, and I'll just trim off the edges once I'm finished with that. Next, I'm going to be using some of the Fine Tech Iridescent watercolors that I recently got in Sapphire Blue and Jade Green. So I figured what underwatered scene wouldn't be complete without a little bit of iridescent splatter. So I'm just adding some water to the little palettes of color here and loading them up onto my acrylic block and just flicking them off in little short bursts here and there just to kind of give it a little dimension, I guess. Not that you really see this because this will be covered up by a lot of images, but you know, every little detail counts, right? So once I'm happy with that, we'll get into some coloring. Now, this is the Neenah Solar White, I think it is. I'll have to ask my crafty friend, as she stamped out all the images for me on the Neenah paper. And this is probably my third or fourth go with the paper itself. My first attempts with it was absolutely disastrous because I had never colored on anything quite like it before, and now that I think I've gotten the hang of it, I'm quite smitten with it for Copic coloring, and it's kind of opened up a new door of possibilities for me. As you'll see later in this card, I do a little risky coloring in my category for me. You'll see here in a bit. So I'm just taking this N0 gray to neutral gray, sorry, to kind of take away some of that whiteness of the inside of the clam, just to kind of give it more depth. And my thinking with these little critters is the smaller ones will go in the background, so I will color them a little bit darker, and then the bigger ones will go in the foreground, just to kind of create the illusion of depth. And with these ones in the front, I will color them lighter in color, so that way they look like they're getting a little bit more light to the viewer's eye. That was my thought process anyway. So going in from darkest to lightest, just kind of creating the little depth of light on these critters. I use the same technique on all my Copic coloring. Just kind of going back and forth where I think I need it, just to kind of give a little more shadow with these guys. This paper's still a bit of a learning curve for me, but slowly getting the hang of this. I like it a lot better than some of the other paper I have, but there is still a lot of paper that I want to try my hand at coloring. Who knew, being an adult, you'd want to learn how to color on different types of paper. So here I've got my little underwater guy here, my scuba diver, if you will, and I'm going in with some duck blue and some Nile blue, and I'm going to use that on the foliage. Well, is it foliage? Seaweed? Whatever underwater stuff is called. And just to kind of create a couple of pieces that match together. I thought this color kind of went nicely with the blue polka dots. I wish I had a slightly lighter color in the blue greens here, with this tealy kind of, is it tealy turquoise? I don't know. You be the judge. But I wish I had just a step down, as it would have been a little bit softer for the card. But it is what it is. It's what I have, and it's what I'm working with. So here I'm just doing kind of like a tip-to-tip method because that's quite a gap between the two markers, and I'm skipping that method for the little bits of seaweed here that are popping up. So for this one's going to be in the background, or kind of mid-ground, as you'll see in the assembly of the card, and these guys right here are going to be on the front side of the card, like on the outside of the window, the acetate window that I've created. So I'm just going back and forth with the blue green 13, which is the mint green, and then the BG 11, I think, is moon green. Or no, moon white, my bad. So I don't know, I thought these two colors together were quite nice, and there is a bit of a contrast between the 13 and the 11, so I am using the tip to tip method just to kind of smooth out that blend. Uh, I really do like this paper. I want to make all sorts of coloring on it. Oh, and this is kind of off camera, but this is an E51. I just kind of went in with his face. So for the little metallic bits on the scuba diver here, I'm using the N4 and the N2. I didn't want to go black because I didn't want to take away from the images itself. I found black would be too stark in contrast, I guess you could say, and this kind of gives it a little bit of a black look, but also kind of like a gray metallic look, and that N0 is just to kind of give some of it a little bit of shadow instead of just having it white. Oh, this was a lot of fun to color. The submarine, I didn't know quite what I was doing with it, but I did want to incorporate some of the other colors that I was using in my Copic coloring into it. And since this isn't a totally realistic card, I thought, you know what, the submarine could use a little bit of yellow, pink, and blue. So we're gonna go with the yellow, pink, and blue with the gray. So again, I'm doing the tip-to-tip method for the N4 and the N2. Eventually I'll get all the N colors and the C colors and the W colors and the toner ones. Well, they're not really colors, but you know what I mean. So I'm just kind of blending that out on this Neenah paper, which is awesome for coloring and blending. And I don't know, I kind of like how this one turned out. Not my usual style of coloring things, as I'm not too keen on doing um, underwater scenes. I can take showers, I can take baths, I can swim in a pool, but put me in a lake or an ocean and it gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't know what it is. Maybe it stems from being a little kid and swimming in the lake, Lake St. Clair when I was little, and back when all the zebra mussels came into town. And yeah, I just can't do it. Yeah, I'd rather do algebra, let's just say. So, anyway, enough of that. For the submarine window, I'm just using some of this BG11, and then I thought I'd lighten it up a little bit with the BG10. And next up is my favorite. This was a total, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to use these colors anyways, and let's just hope I don't mess it up because I don't own the stamp sets. These were all stamp sets that I did not have, with the exception of a few of them, like the little seahorses and stuff like that. I ended up getting a couple of those after I was sent these. So, but the octopus I do not have. I want to say this one is from Octopi My Heart, which is a little single stamp set, I believe. But yeah, I was thinking in my head, what are you doing? Don't screw this up. Keep the pink away from the green. You don't want to muddy it up. The middle color is this bluish purple color, and I really like how this one turned out, to be honest. I think I want to try this color combination again because I don't know what it is. It's almost like taking holographic colors and muting the shininess of it, and you get this crazy blend of pinks, blues, and greens like this. So I'm just being very careful where I add that pink, as I don't want to muddy up that green, because the blue is kind of like the middle ground for it, and I thought this guy would be so cute if I added in some dark spots to kind of go in with the polka dots of the paper here. So once I am happy with all the dots on my little octopus, I am going to tape everything together. So I've already fussed and fussed and fussed and fussed and fussed and laid out my scene to how I thought I wanted it. And here I'm just taking some of the ones that I want to tape and glue down to the front of the card, and using some double-sided adhesive because it's going to be stuck to the acetate, and I don't trust the glue to do the job, so I'm doubling up with the double-sided tape and some Tombow mono glue here, and I'll pick that up with my tweezers, and I'll just kind of place these bits here at the bottom. So the ones basically on the bottom, aside from the clam, are going to be on the front of the card, and then the clam and the little scuba diver guy are going to be propped up with some foam tape underneath the window sheet. You'll see here in a minute. And the rest of the critters that don't get glued down to the front or put on foam tape, they will get glued directly to the back of the, well, not the back of the card, but the background of the card. You know what I mean. So trying to be extra careful as I glue these down. Doing a bad job of it. I'm trying not to glue these guys on top of the images that I haven't set up yet. So some of the images I tape directly to the window, but you'll see here in a bit that I take off that clam. Here's where I take some foam tape and kind of measure out how big I need it, and then I'll cut it out to where it kind of props up everything, and I don't need to add a whole bunch of pieces to the little scuba diver guy. So I'm just trimming this down, and I don't do anything special with it. Like, I don't use any anti-static powder and whatnot. I'm just going to tape him right down. And I'm kind of digging the way this lays out, but I end up switching it around because I want the back side of the submarine to kind of shine, because I've got more color in the back side of it, and it kind of ties in together with the rest of the card more than just seeing the gray. Plus, it's really cute. So I'm just kind of laying this out here, making sure that I've got everything where I want it to be before I start sticking stuff down. And here's where I didn't really quite think things through. I'm putting a foam tape around the window to create the little well for all my shaker bits when, I kind of, not thinking, decide that I'm going to tape all this down, and then I end up taking off the release tape. Like, have I lost my mind? I think at this point I did lose my mind, because this was just kind of another one of those cards where I was just winging it. So, happy with that. I am going to glue down some of these critters here, and you can see now that I've switched over the little submarine to kind of make them a little more of the junk in the trunk, the star of the submarine, if you will. So once I'm happy with that being adhered down, I will move on to the little bits to give them more dimension, and then I will work on the ones with the foam tape on the back of it. So I don't know, does this make a difference in the card? Maybe. Do I like how it turned out? Definitely. Some of my critics have told me that this was one of my better cards, so not to toot my own horn, but I really like this card and how it turned out, especially that little octopus. So, enough of tooting my own horn. Let's move on. Moving on. So, here I'm happy with it all, and you can kind of see I didn't take the proper measures and leave the release tape on the backside of that window, so I can't line it up and check it anymore unless I'm super careful. But oh, this jar of glitter has got to be probably 20 years old. While back, I was cleaning out a bunch of like old stuff that I'd had in the basement, and I found this glitter, and it was kind of like, ooh, shaker bits. So yeah, I'm using 20-year-old glitter. So here I've put some glue around the foam tape so I can get a good seal with the double-sided foam adhesive. And this right here is part of the collection of stamps that my crafty friend stamped out for me. She included all of the little sentiments that came with the stamp set, which I am greatly appreciative for because I didn't really have any stamp sets that went with this particular underwater scene. So I tried to cut it out as best I could with the flagging at the ends. I cut that out because I was on the struggle bus for that one. And ended up blending out the ends of it with some salty ocean. Oh no, not salty ocean, tumbled glass. This is salty ocean. I'm just kind of darkening up the edges of the corners of my card just to kind of give a little darker look compared to the blue frame that I used. And there you have it, my finished card. I am quite pleased with how this turned out, and I think I'll be trying out that combination of colors again on other stamped images, so I'll make sure to leave in the description box below all the supplies that I used, and that way if you want to have a go, you can. If you've enjoyed today's content or found it helpful, please give this video a like. I also welcome you to subscribe, as I post weekly. Here's another video I think you might enjoy. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.